mama's in the mirror watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she goes, oh, girl, you gotta hear this one. A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, where's your license? He said, my dog ate it. Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, girl, you gotta hear this one. Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, you'll never guess who's with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout, girl, you gotta hear this one.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have an interesting one-ish. We are going to be talking about the Maduro case. We are not going to get super political on this channel, even though y'all tend to know where I fall. I'm not judgy in the sense of if you can bring receipts as to why you think the way you think, I don't judge. However, the amount of flippy floppy that's going on in Washington right now, oh my God, Chuck Schumer, you're a fucking moron. And please send these super chats if you got them today, because my language is going to be spicy. But all of these documents today that I did get on PACER, but we're just going to listen to a brief moment from Chuck Schumer in 2020 and in 2026, just to prove these people don't have a personality. These people don't have a soul. These people will only say what they want to say to get clout, to make a certain person that they don't like look bad or view him in a bad light. Whatever you think of the orange man bad, I don't particularly give a shit. That's why we are talking about the documents, not the raid or anything like that. Because there are some headlines that we have seen and some talking points that you have seen that just don't make any fucking sense to me, which is one of the reasons that I'm glad I have a PACER account, because PACER really be the great equalizer in this shit. Because when they say, oh, this is this, well, you can look on PACER and be like, that fucking ain't true. So we're about to go beyond the headlines and the talking points of the both left and the right, and we're going to get to what the documents actually say. And more specifically, the date of the initiation of this whole shit show. Because we have hey, Squid from Middle Illinois, Middle America. Oh, I'm from Southern Wisconsin, so I get it. Yeah, how is Illinois today? Cold? Because it's 65 here. Oh my God, she used the naughty word. PACER bill. Yeah, I know, right? And Linda Taz, thanks for the $5 super chat for the spice. Yeah, usually I don't try to grift, but with the amount that I've been in and out of Pacer lately and looking up these documents and all this shit, it's going to get expensive. Yeah, it's but it's the blessing and the curse of having a Pacer account. But Unhung Hero, thanks for the 10 gifted Squid Pro Quo memberships. You are appreciated so very, very much. Speaking of memberships, I have a community post up where I am just asking for input on what you guys think of cases that I'm covering. Any case that I have covered on this channel, there is a template if you want to use it. If you don't want to use that, just put whatever you're feeling. But it's your thoughts on cases and how they are going to play out. And at the end of the month, January 31st is a Saturday, I think. We are going to do a members only content or members only stream where we are going to discuss the best and the worst. What comments aged like milk and what comments aged like a fine wine. This is going to be a monthly thing. At the beginning of the month, I will put a comment or a community post up. And at the end of the month, we will do a members only live stream and we will discuss. However, no derogatory comments towards anybody in those particular cases. If there are cases that I'm covering where you hate certain people involved, that is your prerogative to not like them. Totally fine. But do not name call all of that stuff. Anything that is viewed as disrespectful. Because we know that I don't like people on this channel, but I still try to show people the level of human decency. Because I just don't want that kind of negativity in my sphere. I live by the threefold rule. You get back what you give out threefold. So if you put that negative energy into the world, you're going to get it back threefold. And I don't want that kind of shit around me. So I will be deleting those comments. Those are very few and far between that I ever delete comments. Usually I like to leave stupid comments up for the world to see how idiotic some people can be. With that being said, I will be deleting comments that are just straight inappropriate. But if you guys choose to enjoy that, I will see you guys on the 31st for the members only live stream, where we will be discussing all of those comments that you guys decided to leave. And Taz, thanks for being a member for 14 months. Love and hugs, beautiful. Love and hugs to you. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Let's get this started. Politicians have no requirement to be truthful. That immunity thing. Yeah, and we are going to get started with a video that I was watching earlier today from Patriot Insider. And just with this, I just want to preface this with this is her point of view. I am not, if you don't subscribe to Patriot Insider, it's just 349,000 subscribers. We're only going to play a couple seconds of this. However, I thought that this was perfect for the flip-flop that has taken over things that should not be political. The safety of our country, the polarization of people's lives, and yeah. So here is his words, and his words completely. And I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. I'm not trying to be not trying to steal her content. She just, when I Googled that word. Yeah.
All these things he wants to do or is doing, but his actions belie his words. Maybe the best metaphor was his claim to bring democracy to Venezuela. There was a big problem.
So listen to what he says. This is 2020 at the top. And you can tell because look at the puffy cheeks and, look at the sunken hollow in eyes of 2020 versus like, yeah, politicalization. Thank you. English, hard. I never claimed to be perfect. I never claimed to be good at English. I'm just me. Here we are.
Policy there. It flopped. If the policy was working, Juan Guaido wouldn't be in the balcony here. He'd be in Venezuela. He'd be sitting in the president's palace, or at least waging a fight to win. He's here. And the president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime. The Maduro regime is more powerful today and more entrenched today than it was when the president began.
So what can the
Oh, fancy that. So you're upset at the president for not putting an end to the Maduro regime in 2020 when it suited you to criticize. This is why you can never trust a fucking politician, and I don't trust anybody in fucking Washington. Another poster child for term limits. Yes. I generally, okay, for those of you who are new to my channel who might see this and start to hate on me for, oh, you're anti this, you're anti this. No, I'm anti everybody. The more and more cases that I read and the more and more political crap and documents on PACER that I find, I am finding myself to be more and more anarchist every day. With that being said, I hate hypocrisy. It is my biggest pet peeve in life is people who say one thing and do another. People who act all high and mighty and act like they are holier than thou and then do another thing completely. Like people who claim to be these super sweet people on their YouTube streams and then are these fucking assholes behind the scenes. I am me, whether I am in front of your face or behind your back. You know how I feel about shit. I am an equal opportunity asshole. You generally know how I feel about things. And Jeff, you can ask Jeff, you can ask Heidi, King Bob, Taz. I talk to most of these people offline, and I'm about the same as I am on stream. I tell it like it is because being lying and being full of shit is too fucking hard. Yes, right here. Yes. It's yeah. And Kirby, thanks for being a member for 6 months. Don't forget to do all the YouTubey things. And King Bob, thanks for being a member for 15 months. Holy shoot. 15 months. Time flies when you're having fun. Oh my goodness. But listen to that. He is discussing not being hard enough on Maduro. And if the president's policy was working, Maduro would be out of power. Bloody, 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 blah. Meh. I am the evil twin. My alter ego is my other channel. You get the real me, and then like the if I was standing in front of a patient me. But still me. And then you get the 2026 version.
Congress do about it is the next question.
Well, the next question is very simple, and that is that we have the War Powers Act. That's a privileged resolution, which means the Republicans can't block it. Tim Kaine and I and Rand Paul are sponsors of it. It's going to come to the floor this week. And if it is voted for, if it's voted positively in both houses, then the president can't do another thing in Venezuela without the okay of Congress. We have to pass it.
And you're
President Trump say that.
And the War Powers Act was designed to limit long-term conflicts. But guess what? Guess what was never an actual war? Guess what was never declared a war by Congress? Korea. I believe, oh crap. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. You notice how they're only using the War Powers Act when it suits them? Mind fucking blown. Ugh. The evil squid and the good Heather. Yeah. It's more like the tell it like it is and the filtered tell it like it is. Yeah, Iran. Oh, and guess who also did strikes on various countries without a resolution from Congress? Obama, Bush, Biden, Trump the first time, Reagan, Clinton, Truman. It's been a long time. Yeah, a dog pissing on a fire hydrant isn't a war. Yes. Yes, but Article 2 of the Constitution gives the president the power to do strikes after 60 days. 60 days, I believe, is what the War Powers Act says. 60 days. This was less than 6 freaking hours. So we'll just start this off with Chuck Schumer's hypocrisy in real time. Do these people not forget, or these people not realize that everything is fucking on camera, or are they too stupid or too rich to care? I just don't quite understand it, because I just don't quite understand it. I just don't. However, I am going to run this report real quick. So we are going to look at the docket, and sorry, this just cost me, well, it only cost me 60 cents. There are lots of things in here that are not in here. So you will see the docket skip around a bit. However, this is the docket. You can see 1 through 10 aren't there. This is USA versus Carvajal Barrios et al., which includes Nicolas Maduro, which started, date filed, 3/8/2011. So anybody who says this is just Trump being Trump, or this is just Trump abusing power, or this or that, I remind you, 3/8/2011. Trump was on reality TV in 2011, if I remember correctly. Well, the thing about it is a lot of Chuck Schumer's base is too dumb or too blinded by hate for one person to realize what's happening. And that's the thing. There are people who will see the paperwork and the evidence with their own eyes and still not believe it because it comes from the aisle that they don't like. That's what doesn't fucking make any sense. Yeah, that right there. I'm sorry, but I've realized that there are just some people in life that you don't challenge because they will take you up on that challenge. And have we seen the White House's Twitter? I think Barron Trump is in charge of the not the Twitter, the TikTok. If you've seen the White House's TikTok feed, I'm almost positive that Barron Trump, yeah, they didn't have cameras 24/7 when they started and they forget about it. No, they just think people are too stupid. Hell, Biden put a $50 billion bounty on the guy and reduced it to $25 billion prior to leaving office. Yeah. And for better or worse, for better or for worse, whatever you think, he tells you what he's going to do and he does it. He does it. You might not like it, but when he says he's going to do something, you be damn sure he's going to do it. So it starts at 11, which is 3/5/2020, which is the second superseding indictment. We are not going to get into all the different indictments. However, there is motion after motion. You can see how certain things are redacted or are not even entered into the public docket. There is just certain things that are not, yeah. And Maduro knew about this because attorney update in case as to Hugo Armando Carvajal Barrios. Sorry, I can't speak Spanish. I can't roll my R's. I apologize. It's not intentional. It's just the way it is. I try. I've tried. There's a reason I took German in high school is because I get, I can sound pissed off and do just fine. So there's I'm not going to try to read some of these names because I'm just going to fuck it up. So I sound, and hey, King Paco, how are you? I sound and I feel like I'm making fun of something whenever I try to speak Spanish. And I sound like I'm mocking people. Whereas when I speak German, I feel like I'm at home because I'm, when my aunt spoke German, she sounded angry most of the time. And it fits. Be it I haven't taken a German class in 25 years. But there's sealed documents, there's order regulating proceedings, there's motions conferences, scheduling orders, all in 2024. There are things that happened in this case when Trump was not president. We have to remember that. Trump was not president when all of this stuff, when a lot of these things happened. We go from when Trump left office in 2020. So the last thing filed publicly is a letter motion addressed to the judge for an exclusion of time filed by the U.S. That was in 4/13 of 2020. The next time where a document is public that is filed during the Trump administration is 6/18/2025, and it's a sealed document, so I don't know what it is. But 1/3/2026 is a deleted document. Was incorrectly filed. They have two documents, an order as to the indictment, unsealing the redacted document, notice of attorneys appearances, more motions for pro hoc vice, and document filed by Nicolas Maduro Moros. So we will look at his stuff, but what I wanted to look at was the indictment. The indictment itself. And we are going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. But just know this is the fourth iteration. Fourth iteration. Just letting you know I cannot pronounce words in English or Spanish, so I cannot make fun of anybody. I don't try to make fun of people when I speak Spanish. I feel like I'm mocking people. Even and I don't know if it goes back to childhood, like pantalones I felt like I was making fun of the word pants. Adios mío is the only Spanish that I'm, the only Spanish that I got down. I spoke better Japanese when I was younger than Spanish. All right, and this is the Southern District of New York. Shocker, because that's where he went. I wonder if they'll be for or against this, given who was in office when this suit was initiated. That's where the hypocrisy comes in. This suit was initiated. Also, if we look at the screenshot that I shared on my stream from yesterday, kind of teasing this stream, he was indicted for narco-terrorism in 2011. So anybody who says, oh, that's a word that Trump's using, that's not a real word, blah, blah, blah. It was put in a legal document in 2011. So, hey, King Bob, thanks for the $2 super chat. 50 cents for the document. YouTube took the rest. Well, it would be $1.50, $1.40. So Yeah, love your math. $1.40. So that pays for, this is a 25-page document, so you can do the math on that one. But also, look at how many defendants there are. It's so, and this is grand jury charges. This is not Trump. Remember that. This is not Trump who did this alone. He had the power to enact or to go get and enact the arrest warrant. However, this was not, Trump can't just, people that think like Trump is the dictator, it's like, no, bitch, we're going to see what a dictator looks like, and Trump ain't it. And that's the hypocrisy. Like, all of a sudden, like, even if you don't like Trump, you have to laugh at the ability of Trump to get the general or the far left population and some lawmakers to defend narco terrorism, drugs coming into our country freely, and how many people die of opioid overdoses and drug overdoses every year. So these people are letting their hatred for one person overrule their care and their job to take care of the American people and look out for American best interests. Make this shit make sense, because I don't fucking understand it. It's kind of like the Jeremy Hales shit, where people are letting their hatred for Jeremy like overrule their common sense, and like they're going fucking insane. And I'm not comparing Jeremy to the president, but it's literally like the same fucking situation where people are letting their hatred for one man override their common decency and common sense. They're not frozen. They're warm. Can you put them in the freezer? No. Okay. I love you. Want to say hi? Okay, bye. Yeah. It's one of those situations where my common sense brain cannot understand it. I just can't. Like, my brain just says I don't understand how you can hate someone so much that you are defending people being stupid and being evil and straight up doing negative things. I just, my brain cannot, my brain cannot, I just can't. And Daz, thanks for the $5 super chat. More help, love. Thank you. And I will be keeping an eye on this as it develops, from a document perspective, not really a headline. I will be the first to admit that international relations and foreign policy is not my strong suit. But the difference between me and like pundits on the internet is I don't act like a foreign policy expert. Thank you. Oh, yep. Oh, close it. I will never claim to be a foreign policy expert. I just read the docs and interpret them. Yep. I just like how everybody is trading their Ukraine flags in for Venezuelan flags, but not for the Venezuelan people, just for the former leader of Venezuela. You know? It's like the hot topic, who are we supporting that Trump's not this week? But the people in Venezuela seem to be pretty damn happy that he's not there anymore. Squabble, I know you didn't just say that. Hey, Outpost Nerd, how are you doing? DM me sometime. We caught a drug lord, terrorist, dictator who has poisoned the world, and I'm cheering with the people of Venezuela. This guy, unlike BB, is actually guilty of crimes that he said he did. They say he did. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. But we're going to read what the indictment says because, you know, the indictment's pretty, 25 pages worth of an indictment. For over 25 years, leaders of Venezuela have abused their positions of public trust and corrupted a once legitimate institutions to import tons of cocaine into the U.S. The defendant is at the forefront of that corruption and has partnered with his co-conspirators to use his illegally obtained authority and the institutions he corroded to transport thousands of tons of cocaine into the U.S. Since his early days in the Venezuelan government, Maduro has tarnished every public office he has held. As a member of Venezuela's National Assembly, Maduro has moved loads of cocaine under the protection of Venezuelan law enforcement. As Venezuela's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maduro has provided Venezuelan diplomatic passports to drug traffickers and facilitated diplomatic covers for planes used by money launderers to repatriate drug proceeds from Mexico to Venezuela. As Venezuela's president, now de facto ruler, Maduro allows cocaine-fueled corruption to flourish for his own benefit, for the benefit of members of his ruling regime, and for the benefit of his family members. And this is the thing, like, people are, whatever you think, yes, at first I was torn a little bit before I started reading, like, statutes and stuff like that of, like, what the president is able to do. And before I knew that there was a case dating back 15 years. Yeah, right there. Upset for a person that's unaliving thousands of people in our country. Like, this is from 1-3, but this is the fourth indictment, or the fourth superseding indictment. The first indictment was in 2011. The second indictment was in 2020. The third indictment, I think, was 2024. Hold on. The The third indictment was is not in here. The third indictment is not public. Interesting. The third superseding indictment is not public. Make that one make sense. There is a lot of documents in here that I don't know why America didn't do something about Venezuela immediately decades ago. Yeah. We let Venezuelan people suffer for years and years. And the TDS is so strong that the left would have cried if Trump took out, the leader of Germany from 33 to 39. Yeah. Yeah. Some of it started in Obama's era, went through Trump's first era. The second indictment was the end of Trump's last year. It was March 2020, right around when COVID lockdowns hit. The third indictment was somewhere in Biden's term. And for all those of you who don't live in the U.S., Biden had a multi-billion-dollar bounty on Maduro. Yeah, right here. I thought it was billion, but it might have been million. I don't know. It's a lot. Squid is going to start sending all people misbehaving in chat to a Somali daycare. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but right here. Trump should endorse air so the left will hold their breath. Yeah. Let's not forget Ollie North. None of this is new. Yeah, none of this is new. Like, none of this is, and that's my biggest point with reading this, is absolutely none of this is new. The media that's trying to make it out to be like Trump just magically made a decision New Year's Eve is like, no. like no. like no, that's not how that shit works. And no, this is 15 years in the making. Maduro, the defendant, now sits atop a corrupt, illegitimate government that for decades has leveraged government power to protect and promote illegal activity, including drug trafficking. That drug trafficking has enriched and entrenched Venezuela's political and military elite, including the Minister of the Interior, Justice, and Peace, Diosdado Cabello Rondon. Don't forgive me for the pronunciations. I am awful. But I admit that I'm awful, and I don't try to act like I'm perfect, because I am far from it. The defendant and former Minister of the Interior and Justice, Ramon Rodriguez Chacin, the defendant, that massive scale drug trafficking has also concentrated power and wealth in the hands of Maduro Moros' family, including his wife, the purported First Lady of Venezuela, Celia Adela Flores de Maduro. Not pronounced anywhere like it should, with any accents that it should, but I do my best. And his son, member of the Venezuela's National Assembly, Nicolas Ernesto Maduro Guerrera, aka Nicolas Dio, aka the Prince. That makes sense, because there is 2 cases, actually, if you look at the docket, or you if you do a search on Maduro's name in PACER, 2 cases will come up. A shit ton, actually, more for Nicolas Maduro come up than 2, but criminally, 3 come up, 2 in the Southern District of New York with the same case number. 1 is against the Prince. Now I know what they're talking about, because that's what I couldn't figure out, because the dockets were the same. But 1 was against the Prince. Now it makes sense. Biden pardoned Maduro's sons. This cycle of narcotics-based corruption lines the pockets of Venezuelan officials and their families, while also benefiting violent narco-terrorists who operate with impunity on Venezuelan soil and who help produce, protect, and transport tons of cocaine to the U.S., where it ends up in the hands of lawyers from Minnesota. Just kidding. Sort of. He will laugh at that, I hope. Maybe. I'm starting to believe that we do not want to know everything that Biden and his son did. No, we want to know. So maybe some of these people who are like brainwashed into thinking Biden good, Trump bad, will start to realize that nobody is perfect. The thing about the people on the right, or most of the people on the right, is that we know that Trump is not perfect, and we don't have to like certain aspects or agree with certain aspects of his personality to admit that he's doing a good job. What I've seen from one side of the aisle is that if you don't agree with them on everything, you hate them. It's like, no, that's not how this shit works. It's not how life works. Oh, yeah. But how many people have cocaine issues in the US? And how many people can tie those cocaine issues back to cocaine imported from Venezuela? At various times since or about 1991, Venezuelan officials, including all of the defendants, have partnered with narco-terrorists from the Fuerzas Armadas Revolutionary Farsi, ELN, TDA, and TDA's leader Hector Rutherford Guerrero Flores, aka Nino Guerrero. The defendant, in sum, Maduro Moros and his co-conspirators have for decades partnered with some of the most violent and prolific drug traffickers and narco-terrorists in the world, and relied on corrupt officials throughout the region to distribute tons of cocaine to the U.S. I'm not going to get into all of the defendants because this primarily focusing on Maduro, and we all know who Maduro, like, I would think so, but I also want, I don't talk to him besides one or two, um, Twitter DMs every once in a while, I send him a picture of a steak I made, woohoo. And asked if my cooking was better than, what's his face? Whatever that dude's name is that he does the cooking videos, But yeah, I would hope that he would laugh, but you never know. To Nick, the biggest joke looks back at him in the mirror. I mean, I think a lot of us feel that way. Not about Nick, but oh yeah, uncivil. I could not remember his name. No, definitely not Chef Ramsay. Definitely not. No. Oh my God. Speaking of the beef Wellington. No. If you've ever watched the beef Wellington video, definitely not Chef Ramsay. I think Chef Ramsay would puke. All right, we will read a little bit on Maduro's history, but I'm not going to get into the other defendants because it's not here. Jamie Oliver. Ooh, Jamie Oliver. And hey, Karen. This cooking videos made me sick. Yeah, that's how to how to protect your diet 101. Watch a Kurt cooking video. The defendant is a Venezuelan citizen, previously the president of Venezuela, and is now having remained in power despite losses in recent elections. Is people forget that too. That is the definition of a dictator. Trump proved by definition he is not a dictator because when he lost in 2020, he left office. He might not have been happy about it, but he did it. It has been proven he lost in recent elections, most recently 2024. And yeah, he stayed. De facto but illegitimate ruler of the country, Maduro Moros also previously held a seat in Venezuela's National Assembly in or about 2000 and 2006, acted as a Venezuelan Minister of Foreign Affairs between 2006 and 2013, and acted as the vice president in or about 2013. Maduro succeeded to the Venezuelan presidency after former President Hugo Chavez died in or about 2013. Maduro's own presidency continued to participate in trafficking with drug dealers, narco-terrorist groups. In 2018, Maduro Moros declared victory in a disputed and internationally condemned presidential election in Venezuela. The U.S. is not the only people that condemned that election. I believe the UK and the EU did as well. In 2019, Venezuela's National Assembly invoked the Venezuelan Constitution and declared that Maduro had usurped power and was not the legitimate president of Venezuela. Nonetheless, fentanyl is a chemical it's a drug that is very potent and very deadly. And a lot of people want to get high, and when they want to get high cheap, a lot of things will be laced with fentanyl, and it is very deadly. I am not exactly sure the chemical makeup of it because I'm not a chemist. However, it is up to 100 times stronger than morphine and 15 times stronger than heroin. is deadly. It's a synthetic opioid. Thank you, Snipe Hunter. Sometimes when I'm put on the spot, like if I'm talking to Mr. Squid, I'll be able to roll things off the tongue. But sometimes when you're on when you're on camera and you're asked questions, it's like fentanyl. Fentanyl. Like, what actually is fentanyl? Like, I know these things. I just, it's synthetic trafficked from China to South America and then moved north into my country. Yes. They put stuff like bleach in it. I've even heard they put sugar or pixie sticks and stuff. Nonetheless, Maduro continued to exercise the powers of the Venezuelan presidency, causing more than 50 countries, including the U.S., to refuse to recognize Maduro as Venezuela's head of state. In 2024, Venezuela held another presidential election that was again widely criticized by the international community, in which Maduro declared himself the winner despite widespread condemnation. And then we have the other defendants: politician, former member of armed forces, minister of the interior, de facto first lady, married the defendant in 2013, long-standing political career, acted as the president of National Assembly, started when Maduro left that role to become minister of foreign affairs. My dyslexia is taken over. Between about 2006 and 2011, Attorney General of Venezuela in 2012 or 13, as a member of the National Constituent Assembly in about 2017. The prince, the son of Nicolas Maduro, is a corrupt Venezuelan politician. Entered politics after his father became the president in 2013. Appointed his son the head of the Corps of Special Inspectors of the Presidency, a position which was created for him. Shocker. The nepotism, not only the yeah. Oh, Red Rose, and I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But it's people like your ex that make me want to get this information out there. Like, it's like I can't physically do anything to fight drug trafficking. However, I can, to the general population, get this information out that our politician seems to be hiding from us and telling us that this shit is not real. Like, so I can, and this is one of the reasons I have this channel, is for some reason, some people want to hear me talk, not as many as when I talk about drama crap, which I wish I could change. I wish there could be hundreds of people in here for something as serious as this versus the bullshit we talked about yesterday. It was interesting bullshit, don't get me wrong, but it was bullshit nonetheless. However, I wish we could get hundreds of people in here for this, because these are the actual documents behind what the media is trying to hide from you or trying to spin their narrative. And yes, I give you my opinions here, but I also give you the documents and let you decide for yourself. Ugh. It's as real as the nose on your face. Is my nose real? It's real. I promise. I haven't had surgery. Kind of want to, but it's a whole nother side conversation. Hector Rutherford Guerrero Flores, Nino Guerrero, defendant, over a decade has served as either co-leader of TDA, during which TDA members and associates have engaged in a wide range of crimes, including extortions, kidnappings, unalivings, drug trafficking, gun trafficking, prostitution, smexy time trafficking, robberies, bank burglaries, and money laundering in Venezuela, the United States, and elsewhere. So by punishing these people and holding these people accountable, but by holding these people accountable, maybe we can stop some of the bullshit that's happening in our country and keep people alive and protect our own damn citizens. Malin, I love you and I love the rest of the world, but like we have problems here and we have people that are trying to actually like take care of it. And this is my definition of America first. Like, stop the influx of drugs into our country. Because yes, shit is made here, but not nearly as much that is made in China, Venezuela, Mexico, Colombia. The reason that they call it Colombian Bam Bam. Accountability. It's the left's kryptonite. Yeah. One of the last patients that I worked with before I quit my job and moved to a different state was a young man who had a drug overdose. And it did a number. Like a number. It did a number on his physical and his cognitive health. When this man is needing 2 people to walk, and he is younger than me. Well, younger than me at the time. It was bad. Narco-terrorist organizations working in partnership with defendants. Farsi, since its founding in 1964, has become one of the largest producers of cocaine in the world. It's generated significant revenue through its cocaine trafficking, used to fund its operations, including, for example, large-scale weapons purchases and terrorist attacks. It's also directed violent acts against the United States persons and property in foreign jurisdictions, including but not limited to Colombia. Didn't I just say? I promise you I didn't read this. For example, from in at least 2003 to 2008, Farsi leadership ordered Farsi members to kidnap and unalive U.S. citizens and attack U.S. interests in order to dissuade the U.S. from continuous efforts to fumigate and disrupt the Farsi's manufacturing and disruption of cocaine and cocaine paste. Yeah, if he's still alive. There's that. And the fact, if he's still alive. Consistent with these activities, in or about 1997, the U.S. State Department designated Farsi as a foreign terrorist organization pursuant to Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. On November 30th of 2021, remember who was president November 30th of 2021? The State Department removed Farsi from the foreign terrorist list. And simultaneously designated 2 Farsi successor organizations as FTOs pursuant to Section 219. The Farsi, or the INA, or Farsi EP and Segunda Marcatel, fucking Spanish, I'm sorry. Both of which remain so designated as the filing of this superseding indictment. ELN has operated as a Colombian terrorist group since 1965, dedicated to the violent overthrow of the democratically elected government of Colombia. In furtherance of its anti-government agenda, the ELN has committed kidnappings, bombings, and other violent attacks targeting civilians and Colombian law enforcement. In addition, the ELN exports tons of cocaine annually to the U.S. and elsewhere in order to finance its terrorist activities, and has at various times partnered with other Colombian guerrilla groups in pursuit of its cocaine trafficking and violent agenda. Consistent with these activities, in or about 1997, State Department designated ELN as an FTO pursuant to Section 219 of the INA. ELN remains designated as of the filing of this indictment. Ugh. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. It's not to me, it's not about a left or a right thing. Rarely or if ever a left or a right thing. It's about a fucking hypocrite thing. I don't like people who say one thing and then a couple years later say something else without going, hey, because it's fine to change your mind if you're like, hey, I read more information or I got more information on this and I decided to change my mind based on this set of facts that I figured out. However, when you're just changing your mind because the political winds have changed, that's yeah. Yeah. The Sinaloa cartel, based in the Mexican state of Sinaloa, has its roots in the late 1980s when the so-called Mexican Federation functioned as a council with representatives from the respective drug trafficking organizations of its principal leaders. I mean, 1 second. Sorry, I was about to hack up a lung there. Ugh. Oh my god. Or even within the same breath of hypocrisies. Yeah, that's all. That's true too. You've moved back to New York. You think you're going to create a fuss? If you create a fuss, let me know. Let me know. Oh my goodness. Whew. All right. During the late 1980s and 90s, the members of the Mexican Federation partnered with Colombian sources of supply and transport to transport drugs through Mexico and into the U.S. One of the reasons our southern border is so big, such a big deal, and such a big deal to people who are proponents of anti-drugs. It's, it's she getting all choked up looking at those likes and new subscribers. I would love to make it to 5K sometime soon, but we'll see what happens. I'm not holding my breath for that. I'm not holding my breath for that 5K. Oh boy. Yes, Outpost Nerd is at like 219 or 220 last time I saw. Outpost Nerd, make it to 300. Yes. If you are seeing this and you are not subscribed to Outpost Nerd, he's awesome. He's been on this channel. He's a friend of this channel. And he needs to be back on this channel again. But, the bossy mod said do all the YouTubey things. I was close. I left a comment on your video from yesterday. Or the other day. I honestly, when I was watching it, it popped up, and I don't know when it was, but I started watching it. Yeah. Let's see. In the early 2000s, Joaquin Archibaldo Guzman Loreno, aka El Chapo. Everybody's heard of El Chapo, right? And Ismael Zambada Garcia, aka El Mayo, formed a partnership that led to the transformation of the Mexican Federation into the Sinaloa cartel, which became the largest drug trafficking organization in the world. At present, that cartel is highly organized and active in more than half of all states in Mexico. Through a sophisticated and heavily armed security apparatus, the cartel wields power through fear, threats, and violence, including by unaliving police, civilians, and members of other criminal groups who encroach on their territory without authorization. Members of that cartel may also be unalived if perceived disloyalty, disobedience, or to just send a message. To further protect its drug interests, the Sinaloa cartel engages in other criminal conduct, including bribery, extortion, and weapons trafficking, as an additional means of revenue and profit. The cartel engages in migrant smuggling and human trafficking. Consistent with these activities, in or about February of 2025, the State Department designated them as an FTO pursuant to Section 219 of the INA. The Zetas is a violent and prolific transnational drug organization based in northeastern Mexico, involved in drug trafficking, kidnapping, extortion, human smuggling, and other illicit activities. The Zetas use violence to exert criminal control, including attacks against government officials in Mexico. Between 2000 and 2010, Zetas formed an alliance with the Gulf Cartel, including a group of drug traffickers primarily based in northern Mexico, whereby the Zetas served as the armed militaristic wing of the Gulf Cartel to maintain control of drug trafficking routes through Mexico. Jesus. You know cartels are bad news, but when you actually see like things written down on a piece of paper, it hits differently. They just recruited members of the Mexican Special Forces, along with drug traffickers who never served in the military or with police, to join the organization. In or about the summer of 2010, the Zetas and Gulf Cartel's alliance fractured after a period of intense violence between the organizations. At that time, Zetas operated as an independent drug trafficking organization that imported ton quantities of cocaine into the U.S. Consistent with these activities, in or about February of 2025, State Department designated CDN, formerly known as Zetas, as an FTO. TDA is a violent transnational criminal organization as well. Originated as a prison gang in Venezuela. TDA has expanded its criminal network throughout the Western Hemisphere and established a presence in the United States, including New York. TDA's criminal activities include human smuggling and other illicit activities. They have developed additional revenue sources through a range of other criminal activities, including drug trafficking, firearms trafficking, commercial smexy time, trafficking, kidnapping, robbery, theft, fraud, and extortion. I wonder what the Italian mob feels about their space being invaded. I'm just not trying to start shit. I'm just curious. This is just me being curious as to what the mob feels about their territory being invaded by people not from here. Just saying. TDA members also commit unaliving, assault, and other acts of violence to enforce and further the organization's criminal activities. They have formed ties with other criminal groups operating in the Western Hemisphere and at times are willing to collaborate with other criminal groups and organizations on a local and ad hoc basis. Yep, we'll go with that. What she said. Yep, we'll go with that. Yep. Yep. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Corrupt drug trafficking and connections to narco-terrorist groups. Like former his son participates in, perpetuates, and protects a culture of corruption in which powerful Venezuelan elites enrich themselves through drug trafficking and the protection of the partner drug traffickers. The profits of that illegal activity flow to corrupt rank-and-file civilian, military, and intelligence officers who operate in a patronage system run by those at the top. Referred to as Cartel of the Suns. A reference to the sun insignia affixed to the uniform of high-ranking Venezuelan military officials. Venezuela sits in a geographically valuable location for traffickers, with a northern access to the Caribbean Sea via several large ports and western access to the mountainous regions of Colombia, where cocoa is grown and turned into the vast majority of the world's cocaine simply supply in jungle laboratories. Here's the thing. When people are like, oh, things need to be all natural, when they're talking about like diet and stuff, remember, cocaine is all natural too. Just because it's all natural doesn't mean it's good for you. Starting in 1999, Venezuela became a safe haven for drug traffickers willing to pay for protection and support corrupt Venezuelan civilian and military officials who operated outside the reach of Colombian law enforcement and armed forces, bolstered by the U.S. anti-narcotics assistance. In that environment, cocaine trafficking flourished. Venezuelan officials and their family members partnered with narcotics traffickers and narco-terrorists who dispatched processed cocaine from Venezuela to the U.S. via transshipment points in the Caribbean and Central America, such as Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico. About 2020, State Department estimated between 200 and 250 tons of cocaine were trafficked through Venezuela annually. The maritime shipments were shipped north from Venezuela's coastline using go-fast vessels, fishing boats, and container ships. Air shipments were often dispatched from clandestine airstrips, typically made of dirt or grass, and also from commercial airstrips under the control of corrupt government and military officials. Through this drug trafficking, Maduro, the defendant, and corrupt members of his regime enabled corruption fueled by drug trafficking throughout the region. The transshipment points in Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico similarly relied on a culture of corruption, in which cocaine traffickers operating in those countries paid a portion of their own profits to politicians who protected and aided them. In turn, these politicians used the cocaine-fueled payments to maintain and augment their political power. So too were politicians along the Caribbean route corrupted by cocaine traffickers who would pay them for protection from arrest and to allow favored traffickers to operate within the impunity as they trafficked cocaine from Venezuela north towards the U.S. Thus, at every step, relying on the producers in Colombia, transporters and distributors in Venezuela, and the recipients and redistributors and transshipment points north. Traffickers enriched themselves and their corrupt benefactors who protected and aided them. Similarly, Maduro and other defendants, other corrupt members of the regime, facilitated an empowerment and growth of violent narco-terrorist groups, fueling their organizations with cocaine profits. These narco-terrorist organizations not only worked directly with and sent profits to high-ranking Venezuelan officials, but also reaped the benefits of increased value that cocaine at each transshipment point along the way to the U.S., where demand and thus the price of cocaine is the highest. Jesus. Florida Coast Guard just seized a boat with 150,000 pounds of cocaine 4 days ago. Jesus. Ugh. Oh boy. Y'all, if you could share this stream out and help my channel grow, because I can guarantee you talking about this does not make YouTube happy. Oh my goodness. These organizations, including Farsi and ELN, which control cocaine production in the mountainous regions of Colombia, the Sinaloa cartel and the Zetas, which control routes in Central America, and the methods for crossing cocaine from Mexico into the U.S., and TDA, which controls the crime network available to assist with the transportation of cocaine within Venezuela and on the Venezuelan coast. Overt acts in furtherance of the defendant's trafficking and narco-terrorism conspiracies. The defendants, together with others, engaged in a relentless campaign of cocaine trafficking throughout the time period charged in the superseding indictment, resulting in the distribution of thousands of tons of cocaine into the U.S. Throughout Maduro Morris's the defendant, along with other members of his family and corrupt officials, provided law enforcement cover and logistical support for the transport of cocaine through Venezuela, with knowledge that their drug trafficking partners would move the cocaine north to the U.S. This conduct occurred regularly and repeatedly throughout the time period. Between 2006 and 2008, while acting as Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maduro sold diplomatic passports to individuals that he knew were drug traffickers in order to assist traffickers seeking to move drug proceeds from Mexico to Venezuela under diplomatic cover. Yeah, if that much is being seized, how much do you think is getting through? Thousands and thousands, if not millions of pounds. Yeah, I did see that study. Good Lord. I heard about that study. I did not read that study. I did not go looking for it myself because, ew. Maduro facilitated the movement of private planes under diplomatic cover to ensure the flights received no scrutiny from law enforcement or the military. On these occasions, Maduro called the Venezuelan embassy in Mexico to advise that a diplomatic mission would be arriving by private plane. Ooh, there's records of that. There's records of that. How do you go about testing that? And Jesus. Well, no context is ever provided anyway when screenshots are shared, so why would it be any different than normal? Oh my goodness. This just gets more and more fun. Then, while the traffickers met with the Venezuelan ambassador to Mexico under the auspices of a diplomatic mission from Maduro, their plane was loaded with the drug proceeds. The plane would then return to Venezuela under diplomatic cover. Oh, sweet Jesus. In 2007, Celia Maduro, his wife, attended a meeting which Flores de Maduro accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes to broker a meeting between large-scale drug trafficker and the director of Venezuela's National Anti-Drug Office. The drug trafficker later arranged to pay a monthly bribe to Torres in addition to approximately $100,000 for each flight that was transporting cocaine to ensure the flight's safe passage, a portion of which was then paid to Flores de Maduro. So she's complicit in this. And they both had the balls to plead not guilty yesterday. Oh, it's bad. It gets bad. I don't participate, by the way. I tell them to go to the back of the classroom and do their business. Actually, I don't. Spawn does, but, I don't argue. In 2015, Torres was charged with narcotics offenses in the Eastern District of New York and is a fugitive. Between 2003 and 2011, Diosdado Cabello Rondon, the defendant, occupied various official positions in Venezuela. The Zetas worked with a group of Colombian drug traffickers to dispatch cargo containers on container ships containing 5 to 6 tons of cocaine each, sometimes as much as 20 tons each, from ports in Venezuela to ports in Mexico, and ultimately to the U.S. Then tens of thousands of kilograms of cocaine sent by this group were protected in Venezuela by Venezuelan military officials referred to as the generals. I mean, Maduro Moros and Flores de Maduro ordered kidnappings, beatings, and murders against those who owed them drug money or otherwise undermined their drug trafficking operation, including ordering the murder of a local drug boss in Caracas, Venezuela. In 2006, Venezuelan officials dispatched more than 5.5 tons of cocaine from Venezuela to Mexico on a DC-9. It didn't lose its engine. Abelo Rondon, then director of Venezuela's military intelligence agency, Hugo Armando Caraval Barrios, aka El Polo, the chicken? The chicken? Of all the names to get, you're going to choose the chicken? Correct my Spanish, please. In June 2025, pled guilty in this district to the narco-terrorism, narcotics, and weapons offenses in the first superseding indictment in this case. And Venezuelan National Guard Captain Vasily Kotovsky, Villarreal, doesn't that sound like a Russian name? Villarreal Ramirez worked with other members of the Venezuelan regime to coordinate the shipment. More than 5.5 tons of cocaine were transported in approximately 5 vans to the hangar reserved for the Venezuelan president at Simón Bolívar International Airport in Maqueda, Venezuela. At the airport, members of the Venezuelan National Guard loaded the cocaine onto the plane, which took off using the flight plan that Villarreal Ramirez approved in exchange for bribes. Despite the payment of those bribes when the plane landed, Mexican authorities seized more than 5.5 tons of cocaine shortly after the seizure. Ramirez told the Venezuelan drug traffickers who worked with him that they needed to pay Rondon a bribe to ensure that those who had assisted him at the airport would not be arrested. Ramirez then arranged a meeting with Rondon, after which the traffickers paid approximately $2,500,000 to Rondon through a family member. I'm just, Are you laughing at me or the chat? Because it could be either one right now. Because this is just, what the In 2013, Ramirez was charged with narcotics offenses in the Eastern District of New York and is a fugitive. Nino Guerrero worked with the largest drug traffickers in Venezuela, Valid Macled. Members of the Venezuelan regime helped to protect Macled's cocaine shipments that were transported from San Fernando de Apure, Venezuela, to Valencia, and were then sent by plane from the Valencia International Airport to Mexico and other locations in Central America for eventual distribution to the U.S. Hey, common sense. Oh, we could use you right now. Refrain from reading chat. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Hey, common sense. We are reading the indictment, the fourth version of the indictment against Maduro. Between 2008 and 2009, Guerrero Flores also provided a major Venezuelan drug trafficker with protection for cocaine shipments moving through Venezuela, including by providing armed men who carried, among other automatic weapons, AK-47s, MP5s, and AR-15s, as well as grenades. At times, Guerrero Flores personally accompanied large cocaine loads as they were guarded by the teams of armed men en route to airports or airstrips for transport north and eventual distribution to the U.S. Guerrero Flores was paid fee for kilogram of cocaine transported or received, and he sometimes received an interest in portions in these massive cocaine shipments in lieu of payment. The traffickers that Guerrero Flores worked with and moved thousands of kilograms per shipment multiple times per month, resulting in the distribution of hundreds of tons of cocaine into the U.S. Sometimes you just look at stuff and you just go, do what? Do what? Do what? I just don't understand it. All right. My stepdaughter is an ex-addict. It destroys families. Yeah. In Nino. Yeah, well, these are also defendants, so um these are also defendant, so you know. Actually I didn't. We just took a straightener to it and put some dry shampoo in it. It gets did tomorrow in 23 hours. My hair gets did. So we just ran a straightener through it today. Mm. I can't wash it today because I'm gonna dye tomorrow, and I don't. It yeah, it takes better on wet or dirty hair. The politicians crying about this are only crying due to the fact that their income just took a hit. Yeah, and it is the question of how our politicians become millionaires on a $170,000 per year salary. It is the shit show that is our Congress. All right, and once again, in about 2009, Mark Led was charged with narcotics offenses in this district and is a fugitive. And Jeffrey, I already told you I was really bad at Spanish, and I never took Spanish in my life. And you can tell I'm really bad at it, and I don't exactly care because these are defendants, and I just really don't give a shit about drug traffickers. Don't care. In 2008, Chacin, the defendant, maintained a large estate in Barinas State, Venezuela, which contained a large Farsi encampment and training school. Oh, they have a training school for terrorists. Oh, great. How nice. With approximately 200 armed Farsi members carrying automatic rifles at any given time. During this time, Chacin, and then this is one of the other reasons I love my Second Amendment. I cannot. No, and I will not. Nobody has that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Chacin accepted tens of thousands of dollars in bribes to use his corrupt influence to shield a large-scale drug trafficker from arrest and extradition. During subsequent meetings with the drug trafficker between 2008 and 2010, Chacin discussed trafficking in multi-ton quantities of cocaine with other Venezuelan officials, including Carvajal Barrios. In 2011, the cartel's then leader, Joaquin Archivaldo, El Chapo. We know him. We all know him as El Chapo. Financed cocaine labs in Colombia. Cocaine produced in those labs were then transported under the protection of Farsi into Venezuela and received protection en route to an airstrip from Carvajal Barrios, a close ally of Maduro. In 2013, mere months after Maduro succeeded to Venezuelan presidency, Venezuelan officials dispatched 1.3 tons of cocaine on a commercial flight from the Maqueda airport to Paris Charles de Gaulle. French authorities seized the cocaine following the seizure. Maduro convened a meeting with, among others, Cabello Rondon and Carvajal Barrios. During the meeting, Maduro and Carvajal that they should not have used the Marquita airport for drug trafficking after the 2006 seizure in Mexico, and that where are they getting all these facts? I want to know. There are certain times when I don't care about pronouncing names correctly, and talking about drug traffickers is one time when I really don't care about pronouncing their names correctly, because I guarantee you they could not pronounce my fucking name correctly, so bleh. Where do they get this info? DEA and CIA. Yeah, he was under the protection of DEA when he was escorted for his perp walk. There's a new element within the symbol AH. They call it the element of surprise. Ah. Well, this is very detailed detail. I would like to know this is shit we're never going to know because classified, but I would like to I would like to know what operations were going on, but that's just how my mind works. My security clearance expired decade ago. So however, somebody else's didn't. Maybe we can Barnes called it all a CIA scam. Well, that's Barnes. Let's see. There's more about his son. More about Farsi. Like 2017, his Maduro Guerrera worked and shipped hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Venezuela to Miami. During this time, Maduro Guerrera spoke with his drug trafficking partners about, among other things, shipping low-quality cocaine to New York because it could not be sold in Miami because Miami has quality. Holy shit. Oh my god. I'm just sorry. The Miami comment was slightly inappropriate but needed. Arranging a 500-kilogram shipment of cocaine to be unloaded in a cargo container near Miami and using scrap metal containers to smuggle cocaine into the ports of New York. Where are you for that, little Chucky boy? Not Chucky the doll, not the doll. Chuck Schumer. See the first 5 minutes of this stream for that explains your state senate. Yeah, in 2018 and 2019, Shaheen made multiple trips from the Bahraini state to Caracas with key Farsi leaders for meetings with Maduro Moros. These trips were part of a long history of Shaheen's regular meetings with Farsi and ELN members in both their jungle encampments and Barinas. Because Shaheen was assigned by Maduro to provide Farsi and ELN with protection and support. Just, you when you think it can't get any worse, this does sound really bad. Really bad. In 2019, TDA's leader, Guerrero Flores, discussed drug trafficking with an individual he understood to be working with the Venezuelan regime. I'm assuming that person wasn't working with the Venezuelan regime, but hey, I'm just who am I to be a conspiracy theorist here? Over multiple calls, Flores offered to provide an escort services for drug loads, explaining that Flores and TDA had control over the coastlines of Venezuela's Aragua state. Flores, speaking from TDA's base of operations in a prison, explained that TDA could handle the logistics of every aspect of the drug trade, including the use of storage compartments that Flores called cradles on a beach in Aragua state. In doing so, Flores confirmed TDA's ability to protect over 1 ton of cocaine. Ugh. We are using so many YouTube forbidden words. Please donate if you got it, because YouTube's gonna whack Squid for this one. Yeah, I have to check my I really do have to check my to see if I'm actually my monetization. And thank you to the one person who disliked the stream. I appreciate the, yeah. We have TDA here in Peru. They're everywhere. They're the new MS-13. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, this one's gonna be, I can tell you very, very quickly that this one is going to be, um, uh, this one's gonna be, you know, eh, you ever, like, know that you're just gonna be screwed before you even start a stream? That's today. But, I feel like certain things need to be talked about because I am certainly in the camp of sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Even though it might not be the most popular stream, it might not be the most views, the most click-through rate, blah-de-blah, all of that. It's definitely not gonna be the most pushed by YouTube because of the content, but some shit just really needs to be talked about, and this is one of them. Um, this is one of them. This is why we go through documents on this channel because I don't know anybody else that will. It's not always fun to go through documents, but I feel like it's necessary because we have to get past the headlines. Because the media and politicians on both sides try to spin it whatever fucking way they want it to go. And it's like, no, we try to go for facts here and what the documents actually say versus what people who think you're stupid um try to force you to believe. And Taz, thanks for the $2 super chat. It's very much appreciated. Yeah, this is real life. And this is one of those other things that makes you realize that disagreeing with someone on like how they choose to educate their child or what schools they go to or what religion they are um isn't necessarily what makes someone evil. This shit is what makes somebody evil. And this is a reminder that disagreeing with your neighbor over a paint color or what kind of car they drive or how loud they play their music isn't worth all the crap. And sometimes the bullshit that we call people evil and all sorts of ists and names for, we call people evil who disagree with us. This isn't that they are not evil just because they disagree with you on something. This right here is another form of evil. We have to remember that. Like we have to remember that. So like it's and this puts things in perspective when we read shit like this and we're like, yeah, this is what actual evil looks like. And this puts into perspective why when people say we need to look out for our own and we need to, put America first. Put America first does not mean hate everybody else. It means protect our own citizens and protect our citizens from evil people that are trying to kill us like this. Uh, I still go and I will stick to this. I don't know who this person was that Flores was talking to, but I guarantee you it wasn't someone who was working with the Venezuelan regime. Oh yeah, Biden's not the only one though. Biden's not the only one. I can go to congress.gov and name about 638 people who are complicit. Hey, Magic Angel, how are you? Huh. In 2020, Guerrera attended a meeting in Medellin, Colombia, with representatives of Farsi. During the meeting, Guerrera discussed arrangements to move large quantities of cocaine and weapons through Colombia and into the U.S. over the course of the next 6 years. Oh, look, until about 2026. Oh, look, we here. We there. We made it. Guerrero also discussed paying the Farsi with weapons in connection with the cocaine loads. Like, just more talk about clandestine airstrips, like statutory allegations, narcoterrorism. See, narcoterrorism. Remember the first indictment was in 2011. Still used narcoterrorism in 2011. Oh yes. But every member of Congress, doesn't matter what letter they have by their name, every member of Congress is complicit. Every member of Congress. Paragraphs 1 through 21. From at least 1999 up into 2025, an offense began and committed out of jurisdiction of any particular state or district of the U.S. The defendants, others known and unknown, and at least one of whom has been and will be the first brought into arrest in the Southern District of New York, intentionally and knowingly combined, conspired, and confederated, and agreed together with and to each violate Title 21 of the United States Code, Section 960A. See, narcoterrorism is Title 21 of the United States Code, Section 960A. I'm not sure when it was adopted, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't 2025 when certain politicians tried to tell you that narcoterrorism is a Trump term. No, bitch. Thanks for telling people that. Thanks for trying to convince people that Trump did something that he didn't do. And thanks for thinking that your entire base is stupid. Oh, and part of an object of conspiracy, Maduro, Cabello Rondon, and Rodriguez Chacin, the defendants, others known and unknown, did engage in conduct that would be punishable under Title 21 U.S. Code, Section 841A, if committed within the jurisdiction of the states, to wit, the distribution of and possession with the intent to distribute 5 kilograms and more of mixtures and substances containing a detectable amount of cocaine. And it goes to all the people we just mentioned. FTOs, Farsi EP, ELN, TEA, everybody we just mentioned. Count 2, cocaine importation conspiracy. Same people. Title 21 U.S. Code Sections 952A and 960A1. So this is where it gets interesting, and this is where one of the other reasons that I really wish I could talk to Legal Vices right now. The defendants would and did manufacture, distribute, possess with intent to distribute a controlled substance, intending, knowing, and having reasonable cause to believe that such substance would be unlawfully imported into the U.S. and waters within a distance of 12 miles of the coast of the U.S. in violation of Title 21, Sections 959A, 960A3. I really, really wish that they keep coming up with words that most of America might not understand or confused. But do you ever notice when politicians say, well, he violated the law, they can't actually tell you what law? It's like when someone says, they threatened me. Name the threats. They can't actually tell you. Well, they did this to me. What exactly did they do and what law did they break? No one can fucking tell you because it didn't happen. When a politician or a pundit or a talking head, a member of the media, whenever they tell you, well, they broke the law, but they can't actually tell you the law, that should be your first instinct that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they're just repeating something that they heard. And I didn't play them this time, but my petty chat rules say come with receipts. If you're going to say this is what's, if you're going to come in the chat and go, well, it's this, name a statute or a law, like a state statute, a federal statute, bring your receipts, a post where someone had said this. Because if you can't name what you're talking about, your credibility drops completely, which is why I always bring the receipts, because I'm like, I'm just telling you what's in the damn receipts. What's in the paper. Yeah, and then never say anything to back it up. Yes, which is one of this. So discussing this and kind of talking heads in the media is one of the reasons that I describe What the Hales as like a microcosm of society at large, is because things you see in the What the Hales, anti What the Hales is kind of what you see in politics. As messed up as that sounds. You see people spouting accusations without being able to tell you any details or back it up with facts, but yet they claim what they think is right. They want to file complaints and file paperwork, and filing a complaint with IC3 is no different than fucking filing articles of impeachment against the president. It's going to go nowhere. It's going to do nothing, but it's you grandstanding and blowing smoke up everybody's ass thinking you're actually going to do something. It's a microcosm of society. And it's one of the reasons that it's so fascinating is because I see things in What the Hales that I see in politics, and I'm just like, wow. If you sit back from a 1,000-mile perspective and you look at it, it's the fucking same thing. It's the same behaviors. It's the same attitudes, that everybody's crazy. Everybody's taking, a lot of people are taking their personal hatred for one person and spinning shit way out of proportion. It's yeah, but what they hear sounds good, so they parrot. And people on the right do it too. Not gonna lie, people on the right do too. They're not immune to that shit. I just like receipts because I don't believe shit unless I see receipts. Call me old school, call me suspicious, you know. Ugh. The defendants would and did on board an aircraft registered in the U.S., manufacture, distribute, and possess with intent to distribute a controlled substance. Booger sugar. The defendants conspired to import into the U.S., into the customs territory of the U.S. and places outside thereof, manufacture and distribute, intending, knowing and having reasonable cause. This is where it gets redundant. Such a substance would be unlawfully imported into the U.S. and into waters within a distance of 12 miles off the coast. The aircraft registered in the United States was 5 kilograms or more. Possession of machine guns and destructive devices. Oh, gun charges. Count 2 of the superseding ingredient, knowingly used and carried firearms in furtherance of such crimes, and aided and abetted use, carrying, possession of firearms, to wit, machine guns that were capable of automatically shooting more than one shot without manual reloading, which is Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 924, C1, 924, C1, B2. It's the Firearms Act. Machine guns or automatic weapons are illegal in the U.S. for everybody unless you have a crap ton of permits and paperwork. So for all these people that are all these all these people who have never shot a weapon in their life that are like assault weapons. One trigger pull, one shot is not an assault weapon. Plus, anything could be like, I could make this an assault lip gloss if I really want to, depending on how hard I throw it and where I throw it. Like, it, the logic just falls apart when scrutinized. Count 4, conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. And then forfeiture allegations. This is interesting. As a result of committing the controlled substance offense charged in count 1 of the superseding indictment, all the defendants shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 21 U.S. Code 853 and 970 any and all property constituting or derived from any proceeds the defendant obtained directly or indirectly as a result of the offenses, and any property used or intended to be used in any manner to commit and facilitate the commission of the offense charged in count 1 of the superseding indictment. Ugh. As a result of committing the controlled substance offense in charge 2, same thing. All the stuff you got, all the money, all the property, all the things you obtained while using any of that money, or you used or you wanted to be used as a result of obtaining that money. Substitute assets provision. If any of the described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission committed by the defendants cannot be located upon exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold or deposited with a third party, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has commingled with other property which could not be subdivided without difficulty. The commingling of funds does not bode well. And that's another thing. The IRS, the government, courts do not like commingling of funds. It is the intent of the U.S. pursuant to Title 21 U.S. Code 853P and 28 U.S. Code Section 2461C to forfeit any property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. And they, thank God, they, redacted that. J. Clayton, U.S. Attorney. That is the, and I just have to make sure I have this saved before I close this, because that was $250 that I don't want to have to buy again. Because these documents do get expensive, y'all. Like, this is not something that just, let's see. US, okay. And this is document 270, just in case anybody cared. So you can see how long this has been going on, or 260. 260. We do have 270, which we are going to get to really, really quickly, because then I got to go cook dinner, because then I got to go to work. We have Rule 5F. Actually, I think I have to do this tomorrow. So I have to do this one tomorrow. We have Rule 5F. We have a couple of motions, so we will do that tomorrow. Tomorrow's stream will probably be at noon, because your girl has stuff at 2:30. Just getting her hair done at 2:30 because my appointment on New Year's Eve was canceled due to the flu. Not my flu, but the flu. So, with that being said, I do have us set up to go over to Mo in the Deep End. She is still streaming Petty Express, the beheading trial. So y'all have a great day. I'm just gonna click on this again just to make sure she's still live. Yes, she is still live. Y'all have a good day. I will see you guys on the next one. I will miss tomorrow. Well, I will miss you, but I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate all of my mods. I don't feel like I ever give them enough credit. They help me out and they do so much work for me. They help me out both putting it in links, sharing stuff out. Also, just they help me out from like a mental health perspective and just being my ride or dies. I love each and every one of them, and I don't know what I would do without them. So if y'all get time, thank my mods, because they do awesome work and they do it for free. They are free labor, for lack of a better way. My friendship and admiration and feeling blessed is all that they get from me. And but y'all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I know this is another one of those difficult topics. that's kind of going to get me blackballed from YouTube. YouTube's not a huge fan. You know, YouTube's not a huge fan. But these things, we got to get past the headlines, because the only way that we're going to heal this country as a whole is to stop letting people manipulate us. Whether that be politicians on the left, politicians on the right, talking heads, pundits that have an agenda and make money off of keeping us divided. So the only way that we're going to get along is to know the actual facts and learn what's actually going on in the documents, and not what people want you to think. Stop letting stupid people manipulate you, and come here and we'll get into the documents and get past the headlines and tell you what's really, really going on. If y'all want to see more of this kind of content, please hit that like button. Please share it out, because the more that it gets out, the more I'm encouraged to keep doing this kind of content. So yes, the headlines are usually the distraction. Yeah. So y'all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.